I'm part of the Oracle Solution Engineering Hub here in Oracle Bucharest. And today we are going to talk about DB links versus REST-enabled SQL in Apex. And to be more specific, on autonomous database. I'm staying right here because the presentation will have also a live demo, and we are going to tackle both the autonomous database topic, the developer tools that we have already in the autonomous database, and also among the developer tools is also Apex. So this is a safe harbor statement we are using in all our presentation. Short introduction about me. I was recruited in 2014. I was part of an Oracle summer school program here in Oracle Romania. Then I left the program because it took 1 month. I was working as a PLC developer, and I rejoined Oracle in 2016 as a sales consultant. So to give you an overview around autonomous database, as you might know already, there are 3 characteristics that cover the autonomous part. It's that it is self-driving, self-securing, and self-repairing. The self-driving part is the fact that all the database management, monitoring, and tuning are maintained by Oracle. There is a rapid provision. It takes only 2 minutes to provision an instance of autonomous database. It's self-scaling. It scales up to 3 times. You have the automatic indexing allowed, and you also have all this auditable. And also you have 2 options when performing the cloning, meaning you can perform a full clone of the database or only the metadata clone, which means the schema but without data. There is also a self-securing component. We have an encryption already there. Whenever you are loading to an autonomous instance, you need to log in to connect using a wallet. In that wallet, you have all the data encrypted. You also have the TNS names.ora we usually use to connect to the TNS names or the details we use to connect to other databases, for example. There is the self-repairing attribute also, because the autonomous is actually seeking all the hardware issues, all the software, and is actually doing self-healing. So it audits everything, and it's doing it's solving the issues automatically. So what we can find in an autonomous database? Well, among others, if you are a developer, you can find the developer tools. We have SQL Developer Web. It's a simple version of SQL Developer. They are still working on the interface, but you can execute there all kinds of SQL, PL SQL, and also you can build data models. The same things you were used to do in SQL Developer. We have also the Apex tool. It's pretty much the same as you have it on the on-prem, with small changes, but I will mention them in the next slides. And also the Oracle REST Data Services, which allows you to build to REST enable objects like tables or views, and to build the REST APIs on top of that. We have been through what does it mean autonomous database, what does it mean, what are the developer tools. Next one, I would like to focus on Apex. So I know that many of you already are working already with Apex, and us in Oracle are developing also multiple internal applications, and also we are trying to position it together with autonomous. But it's for the ones that are not very familiar, maybe you should take a chance and discover it by using apex.oracle.com. Even if you have some experience, you will find some additional materials over there, tutorials. There is a very active community. We have a curriculum already available over there. And in our day-to-day job, and whenever we are meeting customers, we use Apex to let's say to build small applications that we that will be used by let's say a couple of business users, but we can go for developing an enterprise application that will cover, let's say, a department like HR or a whole organization. Why should we use it? Because it doesn't require any programming languages. I mean, a depth knowledge. You only need to know a bit of SQL, and then maybe you would like to develop into JavaScript, as Stefan is already doing it through the plugins. But this application, Apex, can be used by business users, also architects and basically end users. So you don't need to have I don't know, a deep experience into programming. Okay, for today's topic, deep links and REST-enabled SQL, you need to know, and also Carsten mentioned it, something about a little bit about the architecture. You basically Apex works with the browser. Browser sends the request through the server back to the database. Actually, in the database, they perform all the transformations. They use a local data source to perform SQL queries or PL SQL, but we also handle external APIs by using REST or SOAP. Maybe you heard about external APIs coming from Google. Some of them are open, LinkedIn, Twitter, or SOAP. Whenever you are integrating Apex with an ERP system, for example, you use SOAP. SOAP it's a bit more secure standard, but it's not so flexible, and it only allows you to perform HTTP and XML, while the rest also allows you to use JSON. For the database names, if you are dealing only with database development, yes, you are actually aware of how to perform queries with database links, and also you know that database links can be done through Oracle database to Oracle database, and also non-Oracle database to Oracle database. However, whenever you are trying to query something from a remote database, for the REST-enabled SQL, this is possible only from one Oracle database to another one. So at this point, REST-enabled SQL, it's let's say one-to-one relationship between Oracle databases. And also, a REST-enabled SQL was actually an Oracle REST Data Services feature that was introduced with version 17.4, and basically it allows you to perform all kinds of SQL queries, PL SQL, over a remote database, and to have displayed all the results in a local one. It's good to know that there are several differences when talking about DB links on on-premise databases and also on an autonomous database. Similar things are SQLnet, that it's a networking software, and basically through SQLnet you can communicate from one database to another. This is a must if you want to use DB links. There are the privileges that you grant, depends on the type of database link you are using. And also a important thing is that the difference are, so whenever you are connecting to an autonomous database, you use the wallet. Exactly the same thing you need to use whenever you are building a database link. So you need to upload that wallet and use it, and afterwards create the database link based on that wallet. privileges are the same for on-premise and also from autonomous, except the fact that in the autonomous we have two SQL APIs that we need to use in order to make it work. Database links on autonomous database. Those are DBMS Cloud and DBMS Cloud Admin. Using DBMS Cloud, you are allowed to, let's say, to create like credentials in order to access that wallet. You also have the ability to create a database link to perform different types of operations inside the autonomous database. Here we have an example on how to create. This is a simple example that in here we are using autonomous database as a remote instance and another autonomous database as a local one. So we need to create some credentials in order to access object storage where the wallet is stored from the remote database. And then if we go to the next level, that credential we used to create in the previous step, we are going to use it here, access the object storage where the wallet is stored, and then load it into a directory that is predefined in the autonomous database. We can check if the file already is uploaded over there. We have it, and then you can start and grant some credentials to a specific user. In this case, we have a schema. Other than that, just grant rights to the SQL APIs I've already talked about, like DBMS Cloud and DBMS Cloud Admin, and you are more or less done with uploading the wallet and the grant privileges. So in the next step, you should log in again to the SQL Developer web, and you should log in as the specific user. But before that, you should you should enable the schema so that SQL Developer Web knows the user and be able to log in to the schema. There are two more steps you need to perform for the DB links. First is to create also a credential on that database link, and then to access it, you actually need to perform this statement and just create the DB links on top of the autonomous database. All the information you can get it from the TNS names.ora. TNS names.ora are stored in that wallet, which is a zip file. You are able to upload it. I will show you where it is in the autonomous database instance. Okay. So I will show you right now. ATP, Andreea, I'm going to use it as a remote database. We log in to the cloud account. We go for the autonomous transaction processing, which is autonomous database comes into flavors. The autonomous data warehouse that we are using for the analytic workloads, and the other one, which is autonomous transaction processing, we are using it for reporting, batching, and also IoT. So if we are gathering some filters in here, we have the compartment, workload, this transaction processing, and we want all the instances that are available. I'm going to show you the remote database, which is APP Andreea, and here you have a wallet. So if you are going to DB connection, you will see that you are able to download the wallet, download client credentials. You only need to provide a password, and then you are almost done. This wallet will then be uploaded into object storage, and afterwards you are able to perform all the steps that I've already shown you in the slides. Okay, so moving back to the presentation, we have the second part, which is REST and REST-enabled SQL. If you are talking about RESTful services, then in Apex you are able to create RESTful services based on the tables and you already have it on that schema, and you can use it to, let's say, you can use them outside this schema to retrieve some data, perform some VML operations, and actually there are 4 handlers in here. So in order, the 4 handlers are 4 main handlers correspond to each VML operation. If you are going to retrieve some data, then you use get. If you are going to update some data, then you are going to use put. If you are going to insert, post, and then delete, it's the same delete. What is the difference between REST and REST-enabled SQL? As I've told you before, for the REST-enabled SQL, as the name already shows gives a hint of what it does, is that you are able to get some data from another Oracle database, and then make some transformations, make some queries, but with a sort of limitation, because you are able to do it only on a remote database. You are not able to perform joins between local tables and remote tables. So in this case, you should use DB links. Okay, something about how to configure REST enable, because by default it's disabled in the database, although for the autonomous database is already there, so you don't need to worry about it. But if you are using an on-premise database, then you need to go to the configuration file for ORDS, and then you only need to add one single line and put the true label, and then this will enable it, and you only need to rerun ORDS and start your application again. Whenever you are creating this type of functionality, you need to take into account the fact that it works only if you have, first of all, it's better to have an SSL certificate, so that this leverages the security level of your application, and you can do it. This is a one-to-one relationship also, so if you have an HTTPS enabled on your remote database, you should have HTTPS enabled also on your local database. If not, then you should use HTTP also for remote and local. So it wouldn't work if you are going to, let's say, have an SSL certificate on the remote database, and you are trying to create REST-enabled SQL on a database that has only HTTP enabled. If you are going to see the Apex workspace, then you should know that REST-enabled SQL, it's actually available at the workspace level. So once you create that reference, you can use it on all of your application in that specific workspace. Other than that, you can use, yes, so in order for to add a grain of security, you have also 2 types of authentication. The basic authentication, where you are requested to provide a username and password, as you actually do it whenever you are creating a database link. And also there is the second option that uses open authentication too. which actually it's using also a client ID and a client secret, but on in behind it actually generates an authorization token, and basically the password is not shared among instances. How do you call it? Well, if you are calling it inside an Apex page, you can go to a simple wizard and create a report, whatever report you would like, an interactive report, an interactive grid, and so on. But if you are seeking for more custom operations, you can go for a reference. You can use the static ID, which you can find it on the advanced section of this component, and you can use a static ID in order to call to do API calls. And the Apex exec is a PL/SQL API that uses this reference to do, let's say, processing through procedures or functions, etc. Okay, so how to handle our query? Yes, you can see over here that we have multiple ways of querying. We can use a simple SQL query. We can only specify here the type like table, and it will only retrieve the table with all of the columns. But if we are going to perform some joins over here, it will become an error, and the local table will not be recognized in this query. Differences between the two components are that communication is done through SQLnet for the DB links. For reasonable SQL, we do it in the web browser like HTTP or HTTPS, and the data transfer is actually done through JSON. So you are building a JSON. You are sending it over to the remote database, and you are getting the response in JSON format also. Okay, so we are a growing community in Romania with Apex. We now have some references. So if you would like to try and create a DB links from an autonomous instance to another one, there are several blog posts in our official website, blogs.oracle.com. You can try the REST-enabled SQL in Apex. There is also an example if you want to create a DB link from the autonomous database to another cloud service like database cloud service. And now we can go and see how to perform REST-enabled SQL in actually a live demo. So